Woohoo Inc.'in kurucusu, Mutluluk Kurulu Başkanı Alexander Kierulf. Aynı zamanda iş yerinde mutluluk konusunda dünyanın önde gelen uzmanlarından biri ve 10 yılı aşkın süredir bu konuya gönül verdi ve bu konuda çalışıyor. 9-6 Happy Hour isimli kitabı var. Alexander'la şunu konuşacağız. Daha mutlu ve başarılı iş yerlerinin sırları nelerdir? Alkışlarınızla soyadını doğru söylemeye çalışacağım. Alexander Kierulf bizle beraber. I was good. Stage is all yours.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. Man, it is great to be back in Istanbul. It is awesome to be here. It is awesome to be speaking at the Perion conference. And it's awesome to see all of you here this evening, this afternoon. I like to get to know my audience a little bit. So I have a few questions. Raise your hand if you've had a good day today. Yes, very, very good. Raise your hand if you think it's been a long day already. Yes, I completely agree. We're going to make it just a little bit longer. Now, raise your hand if you work in human resources, in HR. That is about 90% of you. Thank you. Raise your hand if you're a boss, if you're a manager. That is about 15%. Thank you. Raise your hand if you work in a workplace, in a company with more than 1,000 employees. More than 1,000? Yes. And raise your hand if you work in a company with less than 1,000. And the rest of you, raise your hand if you work in a company with exactly 1,000 people. I'm kidding. Oh, and I'm here to talk about how to create a happy workplace. Creating a workplace where people actually feel good. Creating a workplace where people are excited to go to work in the morning. Creating a workplace where people feel happy. Raise your hand if you think it's important to be happy at work. That was everybody. Awesome. Thank you. I agree. Being happy at work is really, really important, and it's really, really hard. This is one of the results from a study that we just completed. You are some of the first people in the world to see these results. We asked 700 employees from different companies around the world how often they feel unhappy at work. We asked them, how often do you have a really, really bad day at work? And one of the answers was every day or almost every day. And you can see 19%, almost 1 in 5, have a bad day at work every day or almost every day. 29% say more than 1 day a week, and 16% say about 1 day a week. So that means that 2 out of 3 employees, 2 out of 3 workers around the world have at least one bad work day every single week. This is not okay. This is a problem. This is something we need to fix. Because when people are unhappy at work, they become stressed, they become sick, and they perform very poorly at work. When people are happy at work, they become less stressed, they become more calm, and they do much better work. And that is what we need to create. And that's what I do. So this is me. I founded a company in 2003. The company is called Woohoo! And yes, the company is, I know the company, it's spelled Woohoo, but it's pronounced Woohoo! And we make people happy at work. We have written 4 books about happiness at work. This is the first one. Happy Hour is 9 to 5. This book is out in 10 different languages, including Turkish. And it's kind of interesting to notice that in Turkish, the title is Happy from 9 to 6. So you guys work even more hours. Yeah. These are some of our clients around the world where we do speeches, we do workshops, we do management trainings to teach them how to be happy. And we've done this so far in 33 different countries. Turkey's on the list already. In December, I'm speaking in 2 new countries. I'm speaking in Serbia and Sri Lanka. And then we've been to 35 different countries to talk about this message. And here's one thing we've discovered. Now, I'm from Denmark. That's my home country. I live in Copenhagen, Denmark. That's where the company is based. And we've discovered that there is a huge difference between Denmark and the rest of the world. So you see the results of the unhappiness at work. You have the rest of the world over on the left. And you can see, for instance, in the rest of the world, 19% have a bad day at work every day or almost every day. Then on the left, you have Denmark, and you see there it's only 4%. Only 4% of Danes are unhappy every day or almost every day. In fact, if you look at how many people have a bad day at least one day a week, one day every week, in the rest of the world it's 2/3. And in Denmark, my home country, it's only 1/3. People are much happier at work in Denmark. Why is that? I have a theory. I think it's because of the power plugs. I think it's because of the electrical sockets. You know, every time you go to plug something in, yeah? Because here's what it looks like. For instance, in the US, when you go to plug in something, this is what you see. This is what a power plug looks like in America, right? You've been there, right? But in Denmark, power plugs look like this. Every time you go to plug something in, these guys are smiling at you. I'm kidding. That's not the reason. Why are Danes happier at work? Why is a little country in the north of Europe, why are people there so happy at work? And I can tell you that one of the reasons is that in Denmark, being happy at work is perfectly normal. It is expected. It is so normal in Denmark that we have a word for it, and this is the word. Now, I realize that a lot of you who don't speak Danish are looking at that thinking, there's no way that's a real word. That's not a real word. But it is, I promise this is a real word. In Danish, arbejde means work. Glæde means happiness. So this word literally just means work, happiness. If you're wondering how to pronounce it, it goes like this, arbejdsglæde. Now, what's kind of cool is that this word exists only in the Scandinavian languages. We have this word in Danish, in Swedish, and Norwegian. And then this word exists in no other language on the planet. There is no word for happiness at work in Turkish, or in English, or in Russian, or in French, or in Spanish, or in Chinese. And yet, a couple of years ago, somebody told me I was wrong. They said the word does exist in German. The word does exist in German. They told me it was called Arbeitsfreude. So I looked the word up in a dictionary, in a German dictionary, and I found it, Arbeitsfreude. Translation, happiness at work. And then below that it said usage, very rare. So in Denmark, in my country, liking your job is perfectly normal. It is expected. As a Dane, when you get a job, you fully expect it to be a good job. A great workplace with good coworkers, a good manager, a job you like to do. And if you don't have that, there is something wrong. You fully want that, you expect that. This is not the case in the rest of the world. In the rest of the world, it is much more normal to hate your job. It is much more normal and expected to be unhappy at work. I did a speech in America, and a young man came up to me and said, well, of course I hate my job, that's why I get paid. And this is the attitude in large parts of the world. And that's why we're trying to teach the rest of the world how to create happy workplaces, how to create more arbejdsglæde, how to be even happier at work. The worst example I've seen was in Japan. I went to Japan to do a speech. And they told me that in Japanese there is no word for happiness at work. In Japanese there's a word called karoshi. And karoshi means death from overwork. Yes. So, and by the way, if you want to know more about this, we have a little video, an animated video that explains this concept of happiness at work. And you can find the video at whattheheckisarbejdsglæde.com. By the way, at the end of this speech, I'm going to give you a link to where you can download all of my slides and get all the videos that I'm showing today. So what is happiness at work? What exactly is it we're talking about here? And I just want to make a point that happiness at work is not the same thing as job satisfaction. And I mention this because many workplaces around the world focus on job satisfaction, they measure job satisfaction, and they try to improve job satisfaction. How many of you, raise your hand if your company does a job satisfaction survey? Yes. And job satisfaction is an interesting concept, but it is not the same thing as happiness at work. Those are two different things. Here's the difference. Happiness at work is how you feel about your job. It's what emotions you experience during a workday, okay? And you can ask yourself, how often are you at work and you experience positive emotions? You're at your desk, or you're in a meeting, or you're on your computer, and you're doing your job. How often do you feel good? Let's say, for instance, you're doing a really good job, and you feel proud. Or you're learning something new, and you feel interested and curious. Or maybe your coworkers are being really nice to you, and you feel like you're accepted, and you feel liked, and you feel like you belong. Those are all positive emotions we can experience at work. You can ask yourself, how often are you at work and you have those kinds of emotions? Of course, we can also have negative emotions at work. And you can ask yourself how often you have that. How often are you at work feeling stressed because you're really busy? How often are you at work feeling angry because things are going wrong? How often are you at work feeling frustrated because your computer isn't working again? And what we need in order to be happy at work is we need more of the positive emotions and less of the negative emotions. Happiness at work does not mean creating a perfect workplace where everybody's ridiculously happy all the time. That is impossible. That cannot be done. Okay? It's about feeling good. It's about feeling good at work most of the time. And that is the new thing here. That is what makes it a little tricky. That's what makes it a little difficult, because we're talking about how people feel. We're talking about their emotions, their emotional state in the workplace. And we're not used to that. We're used to dealing with how people think at work. We're not used to dealing with how people feel at work. But that is happiness at work, and that is what we need to create. So the way you create a happy workplace is you do more of the things that create positive emotions, and you do less of the things that create negative emotions. And just to make this point again, happiness at work is what you feel about your job. Job satisfaction is what you think about your job. When you fill out the annual job satisfaction survey and you sit down and you sort of weigh all the pros and cons and you try to decide, well, this is good, but I hate this, and you make an intellectual, rational decision about your job situation, your work situation. That is job satisfaction. That's what you think about your job. But happiness at work is what you feel about your job. Do you spend most of your time at work feeling good? Or do you spend most of your time at work feeling bad? And the reason why happiness at work is so important is that it is happiness at work that really affects how we feel at work and at home. And it is happiness at work that really affects our job performance. There is very little correlation between job satisfaction and job performance. And there is a massive connection between happiness at work and job performance. And I know that you guys come from many, many different workplaces. And in your workplaces, you have many different kinds of employees. You have maybe production employees who work in a factory. Maybe you have drivers. Maybe you have, office workers. And some people think that only office workers can be happy. Some people think that only, managers can be happy. But I want to make this point that anyone can be happy at work. And I'd actually like to prove that with a video. So I'm going to show you a 25-second video from a ladies' toilet. Yes, from a ladies' toilet. What you're going to see is from a toilet in an airport in America. And there's a lady called Valerie, and she's the lady who cleans this toilet, and she does it like this.
Waiting, no line, no waiting. Gotta go right now. Hey, how are you? Welcome to Valerie's Happy Restaurant. Hey, girl, I'm trying to make everybody feel good. It's a good day. Sunshine on the outside, sunshine on the inside. No waiting, no line, no waiting.
Isn't that amazing? She cleans bathrooms, and she's really happy at work. And she makes a lot of other people happy at work. Anyone can be happy at work. I did a speech recently for a group of Americans, and I showed this video. And one lady in the audience put up her hand and said, "I've been to that bathroom. I've met Valerie. She was exactly like that." I thought that was amazing. She also told me that Valerie has a motto. Her motto is, "Don't worry, be happy." I know that doesn't really translate, but "don't worry, be happy," I think is an excellent motto for somebody who cleans bathrooms. Anyone can be happy at work. And more than that, I believe that anyone should be happy at work, because how you feel at work has a massive influence on how you feel at work and at home, and on your job performance. Now, the good question is, what is it that makes us happy at work? What does it take? How can you become happy in your career? And how can you create happy workplaces in your organizations? And this is where a lot of people get it exactly wrong. There are a lot of misunderstandings about what it is that makes us happy at work. So for instance, I come into a lot of workplaces, they try to make people happy with perks. They give their employees free fruit. They give them massages. You get a gym and fitness. You get a lot of that extra stuff. Is that really what makes us happy? Is fruit really what makes us happy at work? How many employees in Turkey are going to go home from work today and say, "Oh my God, I had the greatest day, I got an apple"? Nobody does that. Nobody does that. The fruit is nice. I have nothing against fruit. But if you think that's how you make employees happy at work, then you are completely wrong. So what is it that makes us happy at work? Think for a moment. Try to think of one experience, one really good experience you have had at work. One situation at work where you felt really happy. Think back to that meeting last week that went really well, or that time last Friday where your boss came up and praised your hard work, or that time 2 weeks ago when you had a team party, and that was a lot of fun and you had a really good time. Think about a situation at work where you felt really good, where you were really happy. Have one? Good. Remember that. You're going to need it in a moment. Remember that experience. We've looked at the research. We've looked at the science that is out there, and there are 2 major factors that make us happy at work. So let's look at those 2. First of all, first thing that makes us happy at work is results. Getting results feels amazing. And what I mean by that is when you're good at your job, when you can achieve your goals, when you can do your job really well, when you know that you kick ass, you do an amazing job. That gives you a feeling of pride that is a huge source of happiness at work. I don't see how anyone can be happy at work if they're not good at their job, if they don't get results. It's impossible to be happy if you're not good at your job. So that feeling that, you do a really good job is good, especially when you get meaningful results, when you know that your work is helping somebody who really needs it. Let's say you're a school teacher and you can see that your students are learning new things and having fun in school. Those are meaningful results. Let's say you're a nurse in a hospital and you can see that your patients get better. That is meaningful results. And very often at work, we only focus on the measurable results. We focus on the next meeting, the next email, the next deadline, the next task, the next budget. And sometimes, so we look at what we do, and we forget to look at why we do it. How is the work we do making the world a slightly better place? How are we helping somebody who really needs it? Those meaningful results feel amazing. Makes us really proud, makes us really happy. How can we show people they get results? Very simple. We can tell them. We can give people praise and recognition. We can give our employees positive feedback and show them that they do a good job. And this is something that I know is missing from many workplaces in Turkey. There is not a culture here of positive feedback. There is not a culture of recognition and praise. And I'd like to change that. So, you know what? Let's try it. Stand up. Yes, everybody, stand up. We are going to do a very brief exercise, an exercise in praise and recognition. And this is maybe something you can take back and use in your workplace. Now, imagine that one of your coworkers or one of your employees has done a really good job on something. How can you praise that person? Well, you could just go up and tell them. You don't have to make a big deal out of it. Just go up and say, you know what? I noticed what you did yesterday. I thought you did a really good job. Excellent. That's all it takes. Another good way to praise someone is to send them an email. You know what? That meeting that you arranged last week, what a great meeting. We got so much done. We were finished on time. Fantastic work. I like praising people by email because then they can save the email. Do you ever do that? If you get positive feedback in an email, just save it and then read it later. It feels really good. Yeah. One day when you're not feeling very good, you can open that email and say, oh my God, I'm awesome. But what we're going to try now is my favorite way of praising someone. It's very simple. You go up to someone else, you put up your hand, and you give them a high five. And I should say that right now, that a good high five should sting a little, okay? It shouldn't hurt, but you should feel it. So let's try that. Give 3 other people a high five. Go. Yeah. Now, that's when somebody does a good job. When somebody does a good job. If somebody does a great job, then you can take it one step further. And then what you do is this. You go up like before and give them a high five. Then you also stick up your thumbs, you look them in the eye and you say, you rock. Yeah. Try that with 3 other people. High five, you rock. 3 other people, go. Yeah, thank you. Excellent. Have a seat. Have a seat. Awesome. Awesome, Istanbul. Awesome. Very good, Perion. Now, I should say, this is very important. This is just one way to praise people, okay? If you hate this, then I perfectly understand. This is not for everybody. I like it. It fits my style. But maybe your style is completely different. It is not important how we praise each other. The important thing is that we do praise each other. Find your own way to do it. And I would say, if you can train managers inside your company in this, if you can train managers inside your organization to give positive feedback, that can have a huge effect because it shows people they get results. It shows employees that they make a difference. And that makes them really, really happy at work, okay? So one thing that makes us happy at work is results. Like I said, there are 2 main things, and the other one is relationships. And good relationships at work are incredibly important. And I think we forget this. I think we overlook this a little bit. So for instance, a good relationship with your team, with your coworkers. This feeling that, I belong, we can communicate openly and honestly in my team, we're respectful, treat each other well, we're nice, we have a good sense of humor, we can laugh and relax together. This feeling that, I belong. These people want me here. These people like me. That feeling of good relationships at work is incredibly important for our happiness. The most important relationship we have at work is the relationship with the boss, exactly, with your immediate manager. And I don't think you have to be best friends with your boss. I don't think that's always possible. But you must have this feeling that my boss sees me, my boss appreciates me, my boss respects me, and my boss wants me to succeed. My boss understands me. This feeling, I can promise you, if you have a bad relationship with your boss, you will hate your job. I can promise you that. You must have a good relationship with your boss. So good relationships at work are incredibly important. The scariest research study I've ever seen in happiness at work was a Swedish study that looked at bad relationships at work. Bad relationships at work. They called it low social support in the workplace. And this study found that if you have a high workload, so you're very busy and you have a lot of work to do, but you have low social support, so you have bad relationships and you don't feel like you belong. People who have a high workload and low social support over a 20-year period had a much higher risk of dying. A much higher risk of dying from heart disease, from stress and depression, and from strokes. So bad relationships at work can make you sick. They can ultimately kill you. We need these good relationships at work. We need this feeling that I belong. I am valued as a human being. That is incredibly important for our happiness. So according to the research, the way we summarize it is that there are two major things that make us happy at work, and those are results and relationships. Doing a great job together with great people. That is what makes us happy at work. That is what you must create for every single employee, pretty much every single day, so that they are happy at work. Give them an opportunity to do great work, and show them that they do great work, and show them that they are valued as people. We like you. We want you here. We appreciate you as a human being. Those are the two things that make us happy at work. That is what we need to create. The fruit doesn't really matter. The gyms don't really matter. And you can waste a lot of time and money on free fruit and massages and gyms and all of that stuff. It's a complete waste of time and a complete waste of money. Then I sometimes get the question, one more question. Think of your workplace. In your workplace, what is most important? What do you focus on the most in your workplace? Results or relationships? Raise your hand if your company focuses most on results. Raise your hand if your company focuses most on relationships. Ooh, good. And raise your hand if your company focuses the same on both results and relationships. Yeah. So a lot of you are from workplaces that focus most on results, where results are the most important thing, and I think that's a mistake. We need both results and relationships. What about the salary? What about the money? Doesn't the salary matter? And yes, it does. The salary can actually have a huge effect on our happiness at work. And I'd like to prove that with the coolest study. This is the coolest research I've seen in years. This is so amazing. This is from the US. Some researchers took capuchin monkeys, and they taught these monkeys how to trade. It works so that you give one monkey a polished stone. This stone works like money. And then the monkey can use this stone to buy fruit, okay? And the monkey can get either a slice of cucumber, a little piece of cucumber, or it can get a grape. By the way, they only use female monkeys for these experiments because female monkeys are more intelligent. Please don't read too much into that. So the experimenters say you can do this 25 times in a row with cucumber. You give one monkey the stone, the monkey gives the stone back, gets a piece of cucumber, eats it. You do the other monkey back and forth 25 times, because there's nothing wrong with cucumber. Cucumber is fine. But the monkeys like grapes better because grapes are sweeter, okay? So here, in this variation, they've changed the experiment a little bit. And you can see monkey number one, she hands over the stone. She gets a slice of cucumber, eats it, no problems, everything is fine. Monkey number 2 has to find the stone, there it is. Now she hands it over, and now monkey number 2 gets a grape. Oh my God. Monkey number 1 is all excited, but she gets another piece of cucumber. Yes! Screw you, okay? If she's getting grapes, I want grapes. Monkey number 2 notices nothing. I get I get grapes, everything is fine. Now monkey number 2 tries again, she's given up already. Look at her body language. And you know what? Forget it! Isn't that amazing? Isn't that the coolest thing ever? And what the researchers say, this is funny, but what can this teach us? This can teach us that we have a desire, a need for fairness and justice that is so deeply ingrained in us that it is genetic, it is biological, and we even share it with some monkeys who have the same need. So if we feel like we're being treated unfairly, that can make us really, really frustrated and unhappy at work. So things like salary, bonuses, perks, pension plans, promotions, and the physical work environment do matter, because if we perceive them to be unfair, they can make us unhappy. Why am I being paid less than that guy? I'm better at my job than he is. This is not fair. That feeling of unfairness can absolutely make us really frustrated and unhappy at work. But once the salary is fair, increasing it does not make people happy, does not make people any happier. A salary can only make you satisfied, it cannot make you happy. So we should absolutely pay people a salary that is fair. We should give them perks and pension plans that are comparable to what other people are getting. But once we do that, we cannot increase happiness at work by giving them more. Here's a good example. If you have a really good employee, one of your star performers, she is excellent at her job, and you really don't want to lose her to the competition. Increasing her salary, giving her a raise, once the salary is fair, giving her a raise beyond that will have no effect. Will have no effect on her happiness at work and will not make her more likely to stay. But giving her results and relationships, showing her that she's valued for the job she does and that she's valued as a person, that will make her happy at work, and that will make her stay longer in your company. Yes. So, what makes us happy at work? Results and relationships. The salary must be fair. But why should we care about happiness at work? Isn't it, can't people be miserable at work and then be happy in their spare time? Is that not good enough? And no, it's not. First of all, happiness at work is good for us as people. It has a huge effect on how we feel at work and at home. There are many reasons for this, but these are the most important. First of all, time. Have you ever thought about what you spend your time on over an entire lifetime? From you're born until you die? From cradle to grave? 70-something years on average? A little more for women, a little less for men? Have you ever thought about that? Have you thought about what you spend your time on? They've done studies, and it turns out that the number one thing we spend time on over an entire lifetime is sleep, and number two is work, exactly. And number three is television. Isn't that scary? Isn't that scary? I gave a speech at a Danish bank 2 months ago, and I asked them, and number three is, and one man said, sex. And I was like, no. Sex is very far down on the list. So we spend more of our waking hours at work than we do on anything else. And when you spend that much of your life on anything, I believe it should be something you enjoy, something you like, something where you feel good most days. If you hate your job, if you have to drag yourself out of bed every morning to go into a job you hate, then I believe you are wasting your time. I believe you are wasting your life. Secondly, health. It turns out that hating your job can make you sick. Studies show that if you hate your job, you have a much higher risk of becoming sick, and we're talking serious diseases. You have a much higher risk of cancer, much higher risk of heart disease, much higher risk of type 2 diabetes, just to mention a few diseases. So hating your job can make you sick. Life. We all want to be happy in life. Everybody wants to lead a good life and enjoy themselves. And it turns out that happiness at work is one of the most important things that make us happy in life. Studies show that the most important thing that makes us happy in life is a good romantic relationship, so a good marriage, or a good relationship with your boyfriend or girlfriend or a partner or a spouse. Studies show that the second most important thing that makes us happy in life are close friends, a few close friendships. And the third most important thing that makes us happy in life is a good and meaningful job. A job you like. A job you like that is meaningful. You're doing something that has purpose for you. And I think that's really important to remember, because it shows that work is very, very important to us. But it also shows that there are more important things in life than work. There are more important things in life than work, and they are love and friendship, and we should never forget that. And finally, success. We all want to have a successful career. And it turns out that if you are happy at work, if you like your job, if you feel good, then you are better at all of these. We collect studies that show what happiness does to us, and this is what we found so far. So for instance, when you're happy at work, you're more productive. You get more work done. You are more creative. You get more and better ideas when you feel good. You have more trust towards other people. You are more helpful. All of these things you do better when you're happy. So, when you're happy at work, you do a much better job, and that will make you more successful in your career. A lot of people think that if I become successful, then I will be happy. But it turns out that it's actually the other way around. If you are happy at work, you are much more likely to become successful in your career. This, by the way, also means that happy workplaces are more successful and they make more money. And there are many, many studies that show this. This is just one study. This is from America. The yellow and blue graph at the bottom is the American stock market as a whole. You can see the stock prices go up and down. And then the red graph above that is the stock price for the 100 best workplaces in the US according to the Great Place to Work survey. And you can see that they consistently do better than the American stock market as a whole, and they in fact do much, much better. So happy workplaces have higher profits, higher growth, higher customer satisfaction, lower absenteeism, lower employee turnover, and they make more money. Let me show you an example of a happy workplace. And to the translator, you don't need to translate this video. It's okay if you don't understand what's going on. Just sort of take in the atmosphere, because I really like this.
Good evening, folks. Welcome aboard Southwest Airlines Flight 372, service to Oklahoma City. Those of you that have flown us before know that we do things a little bit differently here on Southwest. Some of us tell jokes, some of us sing, some of us just stand there and look beautiful. I, unfortunately, can do none of those. So here's the one thing that I do know how to do. We're going to shake things up a little bit. I need a little audience participation. Otherwise, this is not going to go over well at all. So here's what I need, especially you guys in the front, because you know what's coming. All right, I need a beat. All right. All I need you to do is stomp and clap, and I'm going to do the rest, because I've had 5 flights today, and I just cannot do the regular boring announcement again. Otherwise, I'm going to put myself to sleep. So, you guys with me? All right. So give me a stomp, clap, clap. Come on, stomp, clap, clap. Stay on beat there. There you go. Keep that going. This is Flight 372 on SWA. The flight attendants on board serving you today. Teresa in the middle, David in the back. My name is David and I'm here to tell you that shortly after takeoff, first things first, there's soft drinks and coffee to quench your thirst. But if you want another kind of drink, then just holler.
Yeah. How great is that, right? I don't think I've ever seen that on a Turkish Airlines flight. This is from an American airline called Southwest Airlines, a really, really happy workplace. And they are famous for being really happy, and they're also famous for being really profitable. This is the only big airline in the world that has had a profit, has made money every single year for 40 years. In a really tough industry where other companies lose billions year after year, they have made money every single year. Why? If you ask them, they'll tell you it's very simple. It's because we put our employees first. The number one priority in Southwest Airlines is the people, that they are happy at work. Because they know that when the employees are happy, they do a really good job, and that makes the passengers happy, the customers happy. When the customers are happy, the customers come back. This is not rocket science. And then the investors, the stockholders are happy because the company makes more money. And what is so cool is that more and more companies are choosing this approach, this strategy. They say the employees come first, not the customers, not the bottom line. Because if we put the employees first, we will actually make more money. Google say the exact same thing. And I think this is the attitude of the future. This is how we need to focus. This is where we need to prioritize, put the employees first, make sure they are happy. How do we do that? I want to give you some tips. I have 5 very specific tips for things you can maybe do in your workplace. And let me go through them very quickly. First of all, happiness at work is something we do. If you want to create a happy company, you have to do you have to have an active focus on it. It doesn't come automatically. You don't get it for free. It's something you need to do, and you have to start with managers. The number one factor that makes us happy or unhappy at work is the leadership. You need good executives at the top, and you need good team leaders in each department, because bad leadership makes people miserable. The study that we did that I mentioned in the beginning found that the number one thing that made people unhappy at work was bad management. So you need good leaders. We know from several studies that the effects of bad management are terrible. Fear, stress, health, motivation, low motivation. So we need good management. I'm going to skip this and go right to this one. And here's what I believe. The most important skill for any leader is the ability to create relationships with other people. That is what leaders of the future must be able to do. Many leaders focus only on results. I think that's a mistake. The leader of the future is awesome at creating relationships. Here's an example. This is a Danish CEO called Lars Kolindt. I interviewed him for one of my books, and I asked him, Lars, what is your most important skill as a leader? And he said, I can understand the different needs of different people. I can understand people who are different from me. That is clearly a relationship skill, and that is what the leader of the future must have. So in the future, I think when we're promoting people to leadership positions, we should promote people who have great relationship skills, people who like other people who are good at empathy and communication, because those people will make great leaders. And then we need to train the leaders we have in creating good relationships and being good managers. This doesn't come automatically. So promote and train leaders for happiness and for relationships. And we need to stop bad managers. Raise your hand if your workplace has at least one bad manager somewhere in it. Exactly. Every workplace has bad managers. We need to find those managers and we need to train them. Either there are 2 options. We can train them to become good managers, or we can stop them so we get them out of there. Because when they're bad managers, they make everybody around them unhappy, and they have a terrible, terrible effect on people. So stop bad managers. If you want to read an awesome book, this is one of my favorite business books of all times. It's called The No Asshole Rule. Yeah. And it's by a professor from Stanford called Bob Sutton, and he explains why no workplace should ever hire jerks, because jerks ruin it for everybody else, especially jerks in management positions. He has a lot of research to support this. This book is fantastic. Highly recommended. Next tip, if you want to create a really happy workplace, hire happy people. If you want to create a happy workplace, you should not hire miserable bastards. It's not going to work. They're just going to make everybody else unhappy, so hire happy people. Let me show an example. This is a chain of cafes from England called Pret a Manger. Very, very successful. And they say, you cannot hire someone who can make a sandwich and teach them how to be happy. So we hire happy people and teach them how to make a sandwich. So one of the things you can hire for when you're looking for new employees is hire people who are already happy. Hire people who have great energy, who have the right attitude, people who will fit into your workplace very, very well. That's a great way to create a happy workplace. Southwest Airlines, I mentioned them earlier, they do the same thing. Their motto when they are hiring is, we hire for attitude and train for skill. I'm going to skip this one because we're a little late here. Highlight meaning and purpose. Highlight meaning and purpose. As I said, meaningful results make us really happy. So it's important to show people, show your employees why their work is important, why it has meaning and purpose. I can give you an example. One of the happiest workplaces in Denmark is a bank called the Middelfart Bank. It's actually the name of the bank. And their mission statement is 3 things. First of all, we want to be such a great bank that our customers recommend us to others. 2, we want to be such a great workplace that our employees recommend others to work with us. And 3, we want to make enough money to support the first 2. So that is a clear priority. They have meaning and purpose in their work. They want to do good work for their customers. They want to be a great workplace. And profit comes last. By the way, they're very profitable, make a lot of money. Highlight meaning and purpose. Show your employees that their work is important and makes a difference in the world. 2 more. I'm going to skip this one again. Praise and recognition, we already talked about how important it is to create this culture of positive feedback. Here's a good one. Random acts of workplace kindness. And this is where you do nice things for your people just out of the blue. Things they did not expect. Let me show you an example. This video is from a Danish workplace. And the sales managers wanted to surprise their employees. Do a random act of workplace kindness. So Monday morning, they were in the reception and they greeted every employee like this. Good morning, welcome. We want you to have a great week. There's a little breakfast they can take to their desk. Morning, morning. Just to wake you up in the morning. Yeah, you know it's unexpected when you see his face right there. So random acts of workplace kindness are great for creating relationships, for showing people that you care about them and that you want them to be happy. Yes. And the final tip I want to give you is to celebrate your successes. Celebrate your victories. In many workplaces, if something goes right, if we do something well, we never talk about it again. And I think that's a mistake. I think we need to celebrate our success, celebrate our victories, so we can show people that they do a good job. We can show people that they make a difference. How do you do that in your workplace? Can you celebrate with your team when you meet a deadline? Can you celebrate with the whole company? I don't know, but find some way to celebrate your results. Show people that they make a difference. This makes people really happy at work. I'm going to show you the next video because this is a great way. This is how you can celebrate your results.
Roll, please. Today's winner, today's kid reporter is Deirdre Shores. It's you, Deirdre. It's you.
It's you, Deirdre.
It's you.
You're
You
the
won.
winner. You're today's Kid Show Kid Reporter winner. You're the winner, Deirdre.
Stop playing with me.
You're the winner.
Stop playing with
You're
me.
the winner.
Stop playing.
You're the winner, Deirdre Shores.
Yeah. She was proud. When was the last time you were this proud at work, right? So why not go up and ask one of your coworkers, tell me about something really cool you've done at work recently. And share the things you're proud of. Talk about the things that went well. Celebrate your success. That was the final tip I wanted to give you. These are all examples taken from real life workplaces, things that tend to work really, really well. Just to sum up here, my 3 most important points from this speech. First of all, that happiness at work is really important. Happiness at work is not silly. It's not trivial. It is the best tool you have for making your workplace more effective and more profitable. Secondly, what makes us happy at work is not the fruit and the gyms and the massages and the wellness programs and all of that. What makes us happy is results and relationships, doing great work together with great people. This is where we need to focus. This is what actually works according to the research. And finally, happiness at work is something we do. It's not something you get for free. It's something you have to actively create inside of your workplace. And I hope that I've given you some tips and ideas for how you can do it. I promised you a link to the slide so you can see, if you take a picture of this, this is where you can download all of the slides you've seen today. You can go in on this page and you can also see all of all the videos I've shown if you want to see them again. You can sign up for our newsletter, which, by the way, is going out tomorrow. So if you sign up today, you'll get it tomorrow. And you can even give me feedback. Click that button and answer 6 questions and tell me what you thought of this presentation. So I just want to say that I hope that you got some ideas and some knowledge that you can use to make your workplace even happier. Thank you.
Alex, listening to you was always great.
Thank you so much.
And you were so good today.
Thank you.
Shall we just give you a little souvenir from today? Just
like
a little
a
document
panda.
and a stuffed animal from WWF.
That
and I
is
need to take
amazing.
you right here, Alex, with your stuffed animal and with your
Yeah.
document, just in the middle. You can come here.
Yes.
And to Chare, he's our photographer. He's right there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you again.
Thanks you.